Okay, I think we're officially live now.
Officially, prestige worldwide, wide.
Is anyone seeing us? Is anyone here with us yet? If you are, let us know how we sound on the chat. I do not have a pumpkin spice latte with me.
I don't either. Actually, I'm kind of full of shit. So like, I have the Dunkin' of the day, the Daily Dunkin',
Nice.
but it's just it's a normal latte.
Yeah.
And it's cold because we got it and then we fell asleep on our new couch and then
that's good.
Slept through half of the football for the day.
You didn't heat it up at least?
No, I don't know. This is definitely like one of the weirdest things about me, and that's saying a lot as an anime fan. I really like room temperature things, like room temperature food, and it's like very odd, not just like cold or hot, but like something room temperature, and I'm really down with it. There's no good reason for this. There's no explanation. It's very odd.
I mean, I know people that like room temperature stuff. I'm just not one of them.
No, that makes
stuff
sense.
Like really cold, even in the winter.
No, that makes sense. I think I have such bad allergies that like my throat gets like sore easily. So like with room temperature water, I hear that's good for you. But then that's just kind of translated into like room temperature anything, which doesn't make sense in any capacity. So except like soup. I don't like room temperature soup. Like that's bad. But you know,
room
if
temperature
it's, like,
soup, yeah, that sounds
But like
horrible.
room temperature pizza, I'm fine with.
Temperature pizza. I love cold pizza, so.
Yeah, cold pizza is cool. Cold pizza passes the vibe check, but yeah, so hi chat. I hope
hi chat.
I don't know if we want I don't think we need to make a poll to find out that I'm one of the only people who likes room temperature food, but please sound off on how weird that is.
It exists. It's not weird. Like it's not that weird. It's not as weird as me liking pineapple on my pizza, I think.
No, I think that's more of a thing. Like I think there's more people who like pineapple on pizza than there are people who like room temperature food.
Interesting.
And drinks. I do think that that's like a bigger demographic.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Also, guys, I think next week is our hot take stream. So if you have not submitted a hot take yet, our form is on our Twitter. So fill that out.
Yeah, we're gonna like post that a lot during the week because we wanna have lots of fun hot takes to react to and discuss that everyone else can like give us feedback on. I feel like that'll be really fun because that's going to be half of the fun is really hearing everyone's takes on the hot takes submitted. So
live,
live.
There's a few hot ones.
But it gets hot in here. We already got some that we're like, these are juicy ones, but I do want more. So
someone in the chat already says room temperature water supremacy. So there you go.
Yeah, it's definitely good. I like room temperature water.
Okay. So, are we ready to talk about the fall anime? Have you guys in the chat watched most of the stuff that's out? Because I think like we can spoil the first episodes, right? Because we kind of have to. We're talking about stuff.
Yeah. I don't think there's too many shows that are like really spoiled by the first episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's not, maybe it's just me, but like, I feel like the season is either, like sequels, like highly anticipated sequels.
Yeah.
Or it's kind of like the comfy rom-com slice of life stuff, which you can't really spoil too much.
Yeah.
And then the very like specific shows that like you already know the premise.
Exactly. It's usually in the synopsis.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So I think we will just start then. Go with it. Okay. Hello and welcome to the Just Weebs pod. I am your host, Onimaru, and I'm joined by my I love that line. By my co-host, Shocking. And
hey guys.
This week we are talking about our first impressions to all of the new fall 2021 anime that came out, which there's quite a lot. There's actually a lot to watch this season compared to last season.
Yeah, this is kind of like a complete 180, but at least a complete 180 from last season. So I'm really excited because last season I think there were about 2 shows that were noteworthy. Please don't be like, actually you're missing like 5 shows. I'm talking about just like, outsider point of view. I didn't watch that many shows last season, so like this is just what I've observed, and it seems like the 2 big shows were May Dragoness and Sunny Boy. You got the
Yeah.
like beloved classic, not class, you know what I mean, beloved sequel follow up, and then you got the new artsy show that might be like anime of the year contender. That's like seems what we got. But
Yeah.
now we're kind of back to like the swing of things. Took a season off, and now we're back to the seasonal grind, and there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about.
Yeah, like Sunny Boy and season 2 of Dragon Maid were the ones I heard more about towards like the end of the season. So it was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll have something to binge, but I haven't binged them yet since it kind of like already this season just came up quick. Uh, and I've checked out a good amount. A lot of murmurs of stuff that I actually was not expecting to be as good, and there's a few things a couple that I wasn't going to check out, and then I did. So but which one do you feel like right now do you want to most talk about, Shah?
Thanks. That's a good question. So I watched most of the stuff on our list. There are 2 I didn't really get to, but we'll get back to that later, and I don't think that's as big of a deal. But let's go. I hope you check this one out because I was really excited. But I think it's Komi-san time,
Okay.
because I was absolutely blown away by the first episode of Komi-san, otherwise known as Komi Can't Communicate. I think it's just gonna generally be referred to as Komi-san. Definitely what I'm
Yeah.
gonna do. And Komi-san is kind of cool because that's one of those romance mangas that I've been hearing about forever. That's been on everyone's, we want an anime adaptation of this list for like at least 5 years. I've been hearing about it for a while, kind of in the same vein as Horimiya and Kaguya-sama. I mean, I've always heard those all kind of discussed together when people talk about anime adaptations they want.
Yeah.
And I saw the first episode and was like absolutely blown away by how gorgeous it was. Like just the first minute looked like it was straight out of a movie. Like I feel like I've seen like that individual like sequence look better than some anime films I've seen, which was
Yeah.
like already caught my guard off. Like, whoa, this is like we're into for something special. And then the rest of the episode was still really gorgeous, just in like various ways. And then the actual message behind the episode and how it showed her difficulties communicating, and then the main character kind of like finding a way to communicate. And the chalkboard scene was just really touching, and it just looked like it was a really good experience. Even if it was just like a 1 episode OVA, I'd be like, yeah, this is really fantastic. So I
Yeah.
know some people were kind of worried about how they would adapt it because she's a silent main character. And it seems like there's just going to be a lot of her writing. So that's going to be tough to bring to life in like a really dynamic adaptation. But it looks like they found a way, and it's really impressive. What did you think?
Yeah, like I actually just watched it 30 minutes ago, so I just like
Nice. You
watched
pulled the
it
Shaw watching method. Let's go.
very fresh in my head because I think I saw that you had watched it. I'm like, okay, I definitely need to watch this one. And I
Mhm.
know that it's been like highly anticipated. I think I first heard about it like 2 years ago, where like fans were clamoring for an adaptation. They really like love the manga, like diehard kind of fans. And I never checked out the manga, so I don't really know the story. I've only ever seen like images, so this is my like
Mhm.
first time experiencing the story. And I thought it was really good. It was really cute. And it also kind of felt like I think you captured most of the points. Like the production was just amazing. Like
Yeah.
everything, like the direction, like the shots, the game references. You got a Mega Man reference, you got a Pokemon reference,
Yeah.
or with her like dashing, it added to like the quirkiness and like the comicalness of it.
Mhm.
So I thought that was like really fun when they can like mix like the beautiful shots with like the quirky stuff.
Yeah, like when
Um,
they mixed almost like the chibi art style with such a polished art style. Like it was
yeah,
interesting because she had the funny reaction faces where it's like she goes wide eyed and
yeah.
she's like, and it's so interesting because like the art style itself isn't very, it's very, I don't want to say basic, but it's, not very detailed, which is
It
interesting.
it actually like especially with the main character because like I think she's supposed to just stand out, but with the main character
Hmm.
like he reminds me of like an old like 90s art style, like kind of
Yeah.
his eyes, like they're big, but like the pupils are kind of like smaller.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And the other thing is with the show, like, so in terms of her writing on the chalkboard, like I felt like it felt like very self-contained as one episode. So if like
Yeah.
there was nothing after this, I'm like, okay, this is cool, you know. But
Yeah.
it my concern is, and I haven't read the manga, so people that have read the manga and don't want to spoil me, you can kind of give me you know, kind of ballpark if it's still able to be just as strong and compelling later on, because I kind of like don't know if like how long she's gonna struggle being able to actually talk, and with the whole
Yep.
her writing on the chalkboard, how engaging or you know practical that's gonna remain for
Yeah.
getting to talk to her. But even in like even if like the content I might not be sure about, the production alone it
Yeah.
was so well done that that's obviously gonna keep me watching.
Did you watch the I think it was back in 2018 anime After the Rain,
Y-
Koyani?
yes. Yeah.
Yep. So it's the same director as that.
Okay. I could actually see that because it
Yep.
kind of like reminds me of it, like in terms of like the moments it like focuses on in the shots.
So I think that's when people heard that they're like, "Oh, we might be in for something good," and then it turns out we were in for something good. I'm kind of with you. Like, there's been these series of anime where they have this one really strong pilot episode, but I feel like they could almost be self-contained. And I've seen that with a bunch of them from like this. It might be just me. People will probably disagree, but like To Your Eternity, it was almost like the first episode was so good. I was almost like, okay, we could kind of just stop here. I'm good. Like this
Yeah.
is good. We could leave an open ending with this. And even Rent a Girlfriend, I thought like had a really strong first episode. And it's not like the other episodes after were really bad per se, but it's just like there are these first episodes that are almost so good as like self-contained shorts that I do think it will be difficult to follow up on. But from what I've remembered from the murmuring of Komi-san, I think it starts off pretty strong for at least like a good stretch, and then I heard it tapers off. I'm not sure how valid or accurate that is, because I've heard that about like every rom-com manga at some point. Like
Yeah.
even Kaguya-sama, which I think is the most popular and acclaimed in recent years. Like I still hear people saying it tapers off, and I'm actively reading it and I think it's still great. So I think you just hear that with all of them. So I think we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And but they definitely gave a lot of care to at least this first episode. We'll see if it kind of holds up on the second and third episode, like in terms of the production. Because again, a lot of it makes sense. They would put a lot of the polish on that very first episode. So I think in that regard, they did a great job. You know, unfortunately, it's like on Netflix, but I think they are releasing it every week. It just wasn't like out yet when I wanted to check it out. So I was just like,
Yeah. I was like digging through subs when I first saw people post about it, and I was like, so is it actually out? Is it not out? Like it's gonna be in that weird in between of like some people will watch it but you're still never sure when it's out. And that's always kind of like tough to keep up with. But
yeah. Speaking of Netflix shows, there's also Blue Period. I don't know if you checked it out, at least the first episode on Netflix. That's already out.
didn't, because I've heard that they butchered it from the get-go and there's only going to be 9 episodes. And I heard some like interesting like
that.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard from fans that like they were not doing it justice, so I was just going to plan on reading it. So I was going to plan on reading it, but what did you think? It sounds like you watched the first episode. What did you think of it?
So I watched the first episode. I really liked it. And I'm not talking from a production perspective. I'm talking about the content. Like, you know, part of like, because it deals with kind of like a popular kind of guy that is kind of good at everything because he works really hard at it, but he has like no passion for what he's doing. And by happenstance, he discovers art and he, you know, kind of has a stigma against it. You know, like things like, you know, you can't really make a living out of that. You can't make a career out of that. Like you can't take that seriously. So he just doesn't, you know, really pay too much attention to it. But like something is like drawing him to it where he just can't help but want to kind of know more. And as he dabbles his feet into it, he just finds like, this is what he wants to do. And he does like a complete, like almost 180 in terms of kind of like his non-existent career aspirations to being like, this is like my passion, like more or less.
Gotcha.
So I don't know, but the way they portray it in the first episode or with the main character, it's like it's so like relatable, or like they really like show how like difficult it is to, because he, like everything else in his life, he just kind of had to work hard and get the hang of it. But with art, it really drives home the point of like, it's not talent, it's hard work, and also art has like no right answer. You know, it's more of you have to find your own answer, and that makes it more difficult for him. So on watching it, I just thought it was like, it felt like really special.
Yeah.
The only problem was the production, I felt like was holding it back. So I did jump into the manga, and I think there's like 48 chapters out. I read like 25. Like,
so
I'm pretty much finished the whole freaking arc, and it's really, really good.
Okay, I'm gonna
really,
check
really
it out, because in my head it was kind of like Act Age, but with art. In my head, I was just like, oh yeah, this is what it is.
Yeah.
But it sounds like I like the nuance of he's a popular guy who can really get the hang of everything, but then art is something he struggles with, because that is such a like realistic thing of like there's no right answer with art, there's no right path.
Well,
so
what also makes it really good, and especially gets into the manga, because it really like takes it step by step. Like he keeps running into difficulties, because one of the things is that he's also like a big like people pleaser, and like he knows the exact right thing to say and whatever to people, but then it gets to a point where it's like, you can't do art like that. And then it just, he kind of hits every obstacle. I mean, like the only part about the manga that feels like a drag or like can feel slow or at least bored me, and I hate to say it like that, but it's just really like the part where it gets into the like the nitty gritty of traditional art, like, like buying the supplies and kind of the explanations and all of that stuff. That just bores me.
I think I'm gonna like that, because I went to an art camp over summer at like one of those art supply stores. So I was like, when I was a kid, I was like obsessed with trying to be a painter. Also, because my grandma was a painter, so I'd be like, "Ooh, I want all the paintbrushes, I want the scalpel, and like I want the all the different paint colors. I want like all this." So I will love that. Of course, I'll like the shopping section. Thank you. I will.
Yeah,
like
no, you'll
the
enjoy
shopping
that.
section.
But I'm actually of the opposite spectrum, as you can already see, because like I did grow up around traditional art a lot, and so I know a lot of the things, but I always found it boring. Like I always just, I don't know, like I've always found, I always was more interested in like digital art or something like more, you know, or like free drawing, but not without all the like the tools and the paint. Like I wasn't too big onto paint, but it's still interesting. Yeah, you know, it's still good.
Yeah, I think it's good to have that experience, because then you know that like, okay, I actually know this background and I know I'm not interested. It's not a sense of like, yo, I vaguely heard about it and it doesn't seem cool, so I'm gonna do this. Like it sounds like you have a lot of experience with it.
Yeah. You know, but yeah, like I know that like that's not a good gripe. Like it's not, you know, it's only
that's
personal. Fair. But no, but the manga's just still really good. And I'd highly recommend just reading it. I kind of had to pause because I'm like, okay, I can't spend the whole week reading this. I got to go do other stuff. But it was a good 3 days where I'm just like,
but those are the best, where you just get so excited and you start binging something and you're like, this is it.
The chapters are fucking long. It's like
50, like Nana
50 pages.
Yeah, 50, it's like that Nana 60, length where you're like each chapter is like
it was a big deal. Yeah, but it was good. It was good.
I'm excited.
So that's highly recommend the Blue Period manga. So that lives up to all the hype I've been hearing.
Can we talk about how sad it is that a series about the artistic process fails at the artistic process as an anime adaptation? Can we talk about how sad that is as like irony?
I mean, yeah, it's pretty sad.
Come on.
But also, like, at least there wasn't as much outrage about it, like, as there usually is. It was more of like, all right, just read the manga. Like, and that was kind of it. Normally, there's a bigger outrage, but maybe that's because it was like a newer property and there isn't like a set fan base, like anime fan base for it. But
the fan base is probably a bit smaller, so I think they're upset. But I think it was like, I don't know. I think everyone was just kind of, I think we've all been there before at this point. Like maybe we've actually, as a community, just kind of gotten the hang of it, and we're like, okay, you're either in or you're out, and it's like either works or we're just gonna read the manga. Like maybe we've just come to that point.
Yeah. And Amethyst points out in the chat, I don't think it fails at it. It's just meh. And I think that's a better way of putting it. But for some people, that's even more disappointing. It's just like, it was just lukewarm, you know? It wasn't like, it didn't really capture like the intimacy that you can kind of feel like with the art in the manga. So
Yeah, I just think it's probably more of a failure than something else because the subject matter is actively about the artistic process. So like you could probably do a lot of really interesting things with that and still be in line with the series because it's like about like you could have like almost meta commentary on within adaptation about like here is our artistic process while adapting this series dedicated to the artistic process. So I think there's just something like the subject matter probably makes that a lot more disappointing than it would be if it was like average series about person killing person and it looks ass, you know.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. But yeah, so unfortunately,
shout out.
you know.
Yeah, shout out to Blue Period. I think I think the manga will be cool and I'm excited to check it out. Is it actually called
I'm
Blue?
excited to hear your thoughts.
Thanks. There's so many anime with blue in the title that at first I was like, wait, did I say the wrong one? Is it Grand Blue?
No, it is Blue Period. It's Blue Period.
Blue Lock coming soon. I'm hyped for that. Yeah. Blue, let's go. What? half ironically, half unironically.
What else did you check out?
I'll go next on the list. I don't know if you checked this out. Genuinely don't know. This is one of those shows that I could see falling under a lot of people's radars because for various reasons, I don't know why, but so I checked out My Senpai Is Annoying. Did you end up checking that one out?
So I actually did watch it right before Komi today. So I watched.
Oh, cool. Too. Okay. So that one's kind of like my second favorite first episode of the season. I had like no expectations for the show. So it's a Doga Koba. They are known for having like pretty high quality slice of life adaptation. So I kind of knew what I was in for, but I wasn't really sure what the content would be. I guess the general premise for everyone who has not watched it yet is, it takes place in an office setting, you know, they're office coworkers. And this one girl is like, she's just like the most petite girl of all time. Like she needs a step stool to reach her sink. Like she's just the tiniest girl ever. And she looks like such a kid that she kind of gets babied by everyone. And she's trying to get everyone to take her seriously. Cause she's like, you know, I'm your coworker, take me seriously, you know, like treat me as like an actual adult. And then, her senpai at work kind of like, he doesn't really coddle her. Like he definitely gives her opportunities and takes her seriously, but he also definitely finds her like really cute and protect worthy. So he's kind of like a bit nicer than I think she anticipates from her work senpai. But first episode kind of details her at work trying to take on more responsibilities. She ends up making a mistake and feels really bad about it. And her senpai like ends up, you know, taking on more work to try and help her. But then she like learns from it. And then they come back triumphant. They fix the problem at work. And, you know, it's a very basic setup. But I mean, being an old person at work who has made mistakes and had to fix them, I totally felt the genuine frustration of that situation, you know, just like everything about it felt very authentic and like very, very relatable, very me IRL. But the end was kind of cute because I wasn't really sure what were they going to really do with like a romance? Like, what were they going to do? Like, is this going to be a romance or like kind of a romance? You know, like what's the vibe? Yeah. And at the end when they're celebrating, he's kind of like, oh, you remind me of like, you remind me of a child or something.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, he's like, oh, if I had a wife and child, you remind me of the child. And she's like, well, why wouldn't I remind you of a wife? And she's like, I'd rather be your wife. And she's like shit-faced, of course, saying this. Yeah,
she's just like, oh, fuck, oh, shit. What did I say? What did I just say?
She's like, oh, no. So I think that's going to be the kind of dynamic of like, he thinks she's a child and she wants to be taken seriously, but they both probably like each other. I don't know if they'll probably end up getting together or not. They probably won't, just knowing romance anime, but they won't, at least for this season. They probably won't get together. But
I mean, it wouldn't be fun if they got together like right away, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I came in like not expecting anything. This wasn't even on my radar. If you hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't have checked it out. So I was like curious, still not expecting anything. Watched it, and I think I'd agree it was like my second favorite premiere because it was just the execution was really, really good. The dynamic between them was really fun. How like he's like very like aware of her, and it's probably because he sees her as like a kid, but like you know, he buys her a Happy Meal, but she can't like admit that she wants a Happy Meal
because she wants the stuffed animal from a Happy Meal. So
yeah.
It's a funny dichotomy of like she wants to be taken seriously as an adult, but she has all these childish tendencies, and it's like I totally get that because it's like I think we all are like, I'm an adult, take me seriously, but we all have that kid side where we're like, no, I do want the cute stuffed animal, but I have to pretend to be an adult because I'm at work.
Yeah, and like the contrast between them, like how he's like so like huge, like he's like built like a dad, you know?
Yeah, he's like a dad.
Yeah.
And he's just like, it's like slowing his walking down for people.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of funny that they invented, instead of getting friend zone, you get kid zoned.
Yeah,
like
that was pretty
like
great.
Kid zone. It's like now you remind me of a kid. I would be like immediate death.
Yeah, I only watched the first episode.
Same. I'm excited for episode 2. Thank you, chat, for confirming episode 2 is looking good too.
And actually, for most of these, I only watched the first episode, so that's like I only had time for the one episode.
Same. We were consistent in only watching one episode, so the synergy is real, and not watching too many episodes. But that's good because then we're on the same page, so we won't spoil each other.
Yeah.
But I know we are definitely spoiled with that opening. Did you see that at the end of the episode?
Yeah, it was really good.
I love that opening. I'm excited to see that in every episode. I think that's so cool how it's like, you got them editing the opening within the opening. A lot of like the point of view shots of like an iPhone camera.
The shot of like, I think Adobe Premiere or some editing software. It was like, this is great.
It's just like us.
It had a lot of personality. I was like, for a lot of these, they were playing the opening at the end. And I was also in a rush to watch these. So I was like tempted to check out and like skip the opening. But I feel like I was like, Shaw's going to ask me, did you check out the opening? And I'm going to have nothing to say. Okay,
only for 2 of them. And Komi-san looks like it has a great opening too, but I didn't get to mention it.
Yeah.
So these are the only 2 ones where I will do the opening homework. But I was really impressed with this like really dynamic like character animation, which is what like Doga Koba is, known for.
Really fun, like the opening of like more characters that they're going to introduce, some like crazy old man, like I don't know, it looked cool and fun. So that gives me enough like kind of hope or expectation that it's not just going to be like just the romance, which that part is nice, but it's also like the antics kind of going on in the workplace between them and the other workers, like that crazy coworker that brought vodka, but it was actually water. But I think she was joking. I think that was vodka.
I think she thought the girl was like so like naive and childish that she's like, "Don't worry, it's just water." Wink, like wink and a nod. It's actually
vodka's
vodka.
Water.
yeah, like that's definitely vodka for sure. Like, there's no way.
But I definitely relate to the workplace comedy stuff, so that's like I'm down for that. So
I'm such a like hypocrite where I'm like I cannot relate to these high school anime anymore. I'm like, but workplace, like. Workplace, anything, like let's go. But I think it's cute. I think it's fun.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that one. I'm excited. I'm like surprised that one's like
Me
so
too.
high on my list. Yeah.
Me too. I didn't have much expectations for it because I didn't expect much, but I am really happy with it.
I mean, when I heard the title, My Senpai Is Annoying, like I just thought like, oh, whatever. Like it's probably like about the girl. I didn't expect it to be about the big guy.
Yeah.
Like annoying.
And I think she'll be fun to follow too. I think she'll be like relatable enough. So I don't think I'm going to get tired of her being like, wah, take me seriously.
Yeah. It wasn't like she didn't overdo it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited. It's interesting because I watched this and Komi-san back to back, just like you did. Yeah. And while Komi-san is definitely a lot more flashy and dynamic with the visuals, this one is definitely like very understated, but consistently good, especially with the character animation. Like they always do a good job with that. So
didn't Doga Kobo do New Game?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, I love New Game. So there you go.
I have to check that out. I got to go on a Doga Kobo binge, but this show also, at least the dynamic of the girl probably liking them. Sorry, Jesus, camera. I mean, a microphone. The girl liking the guy and him probably being slightly oblivious. It reminds me of Nozaki-kun. Did you watch that? Did you see that?
Yes, that was a great one too.
Yeah. So that kind of, it gives me Nozaki-kun vibes, but like in a work setting.
Nozaki is like way more oblivious though.
Oh yeah. Well, this girl like actively said it. So this guy's definitely like gonna know because she like drunkenly was like, "I like you" kind of thing.
Yeah. That was good. Yeah. In terms of other anime, I wasn't gonna bring this up till later. I didn't even want to bring it up, but I saw it in the chat. Takt Op Destiny.
I checked that one out too. Yeah.
So I only watched the first episode.
Same.
I think I gave you like an inkling that like I didn't like it like last week, and then like I heard like other people saying that they liked it, so I'm like, maybe I was too harsh on it. Maybe I was in a bad mood. Let me watch it again. I tried watching it again like today. I don't know, man. Let me know what you think. And then
Okay,
I'll
so
tell you
I
what I
watched
think.
the first episode too, and I don't know, like I think this is like also just kind of it's so funny how it works out. You know, you watch Komi-san, you watch My Senpai Is Annoying, two very like dialogue heavy series that are going to be all about the character interactions and stuff, and they just kind of highlight like how good and important it is to have like a very good foundation of character dynamics and interactions. Like that's
Yes.
really going to be the bread and butter of an episode. And I think Takt Op Destiny is a great example of a show that does not really have the character interactions down because you got this like trio of like the guy who wants to play music, the girl who's like the weapon or so to
Yeah.
speak, the
Yeah.
musical weapon, and then I guess they're like
Who's also
handler or
who's also supposed to be kind of like the lifeless. She's not lifeless, but she's like more of the emotionless kind of that trope.
I got like
Or
them trying to do like a Saber. I feel like they were trying to do like a Saber of like, oh, she's like
you,
not super emotional, but she eats a lot. That's her thing. And
you know
that's
who
kind of like Saber.
she actually reminded me also of Ononoki or Yotsugi from Monogatari.
Yeah.
'Cause
That might be a bit
she's
more
like
accurate.
big
Yes.
sister and all that part at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I felt like I felt like these parts like that were happening. A lot of stuff was happening in the first episode. Like they're all
Yeah.
yelling at each other, whatever. But I couldn't find myself caring about them, and it's
Yeah.
like that's what made it difficult. It's like they're yelling at each other. Like I know this is supposed to be funny, but
Yeah.
it's not landing for me. So
Yeah.
you
I
know,
was also kind of like I'll get to the good parts in a second, but I was still kind of like confused over what the thing is it's like they got invaded by aliens who now show up whenever there's music, so these guys are like fighting these guys also with music. Like is
yeah.
that the thing? Are we fighting with music?
I think that's the thing because I
Is
think
that yeah.
they can't play music because then these
Yeah.
things come out. So like that's why I think it attracts them or lures them in or
Yeah.
something like that. Because when he played the piano in the beginning, like they just suddenly like came out, and that's
Yeah.
why everyone's like, "Oh, we've never heard music."
Oh, the day
Yeah,
the music died. How did they not call it that? Gotta have an episode called The Day the Music Died.
that's
If you
pretty
don't
cool.
have an episode called that, it's a 1 out of 10. I'm just saying. Like
Immediately,
it's literally right there for you. There's
like
The Day the Music Died.
it is flashy. It does have some
Yeah.
good action. It's Madhouse and Mappa, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like I could see if people liked it, enjoyed it, I could see why they would. I just
It's
felt
got the
like
drip.
yeah, I just felt like the character interactions weren't selling it for me, and that's why I was like, I don't know what they're all just yelling at each other and being over
Yeah.
the top, and it's like
It's
okay.
like you got the three things of like the one girl wants to go to New York, the one dude wants to play music on a grand piano, and the other chick wants to eat. And they're just kind of yelling about that all in tangent, and like none of it's really connecting with each other. They're all just kind of yelling about their shit. And like I don't really care about any of that right now. I do think the fight scenes were really cool. I think that was like really interesting and fun to watch. So,
Yeah.
they nailed the animation part, looks really great. I also saw in chat, Amethyst said that episode 2 is the backstory. So I think we've seen a bunch of shows where they just kind of give you like, here's a taste of everything episode 1. Okay, now we're going to explain all that shit in episode 2. And then we're going to get back on the road and kind of expect you to care. But I hope it's like a good backstory and not just like, here's the obligatory backstory episode. Now we expect you to care and we're going to get back to like showing random shit. You know, like I feel like we've seen a bunch of those that do it. And it's kind of like, you got to kind of still have good day-to-day moments with the characters. You can't just be like backstory. Now you give a shit. So
yeah,
like it has to be a good backstory. So I guess that's reliant on episode 2. So we will see, but I'm definitely going to watch it, but I'm going to also kind of not really have high expectations except cool fight scenes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to give like it another episode to kind of see, because sometimes maybe having like the backstory and not even that, maybe like the character interactions will settle in a little bit more, and then once they do, it's like okay, now like episode 1, feels better, and maybe like the pacing was too quick in terms of their interactions and what was going on and trying to follow it. So.
Yeah, and that's definitely, we talked about good first episodes. I'm not going to be too mad over a bad first episode for something with an interesting concept. I'm hoping they incorporate music in an interesting way, because I do like the idea of kind of like music as a weapon, but like I want to see that in an interesting way. I don't want it to just be like, here's some music, girl turns into a gun kind of thing, and then that's it. Like, I want like really good music for the fight scenes and to be incorporated in like an interesting way, since that's like the subject matter.
I mean, I did enjoy Moonlight Sonata being
Yes.
played at the
Yeah.
end, like, but then who doesn't? You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like how they incorporate the music, 'cause towards the end, it really just felt like, again, flashy fight moves and scenes, but the music didn't really actually play a part in that. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're just kind of expected to believe that, because I think it like powers the girl or something, like the composer
Yeah.
does something.
But then
like
she also like needs to eat and stuff. So it's like, you know, it's like, what powers her? How does that work? But
yeah, and maybe that's
you know,
episode 2.
maybe episode 2. We'll find out.
Yeah.
I'll probably stick with it to the end just to see, because I'm curious enough. But if you fall off, don't worry. I will be here to circle back.
I might do the three episode rule, you know, because I actually like forgot about that. To be honest, I've been like one and drop for like a little bit. I'm like, oh, that's right, and I should probably, things can get better in like an episode 2 or a 3.
Yeah.
Like Made in Abyss did not pick up for like a few episodes, you know.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely in a weird boat when it comes to these shows where I'm very much, instead of being good versus bad, I'm like curious versus not curious. And if a show does not make me curious, I drop it. But if it makes me curious, I'll check it out. So
yeah, I think with this one, if we're putting it on that scale, I'm falling in the I'm not curious. So that's what's making it difficult. But
yeah, I definitely feel that.
Give it another shot. I mentioned something about Made in Abyss just now, so I want to mention Sakugan, because someone pitched this show to me as Made in Abyss meets Gurren Lagann.
Which one is this? I gotta check it out.
This is.
Oh, I see.
I don't know if you watched it, and if you didn't, it's cool.
I did not watch it. So what is the tea? What's it about?
So Sakugan, I went to check it out, and I don't know, like I can see how it's like sort of that description, like loosely, of like Gurren Lagann meets Made in Abyss, because it does have like a labyrinth and like a little girl that wants to kind of go into this like labyrinth to do this, to like map out what's over there, but she has like a dad who's like overprotective and doesn't want to like let her, you know, do that because she's too young. But at the same time, like she's also kind of like a genius who already is like a 9-year-old girl that graduated college and kind of like is able to do all this stuff. So she's more than equipped to probably do this stuff. And I don't know, like the problem with the show is like it seemed like it was interesting, but it also seemed like it had a lot, at least for the first episode, going on. Like there was mechs, there was kaiju, there was like this underground city that hasn't like seen the light of day. There's this labyrinth. There's just a lot of stuff being thrown out. I mean, I thought the very first opening scene, like the first like minute was really well shot and super interesting. But then after that, it just got like, I don't know. It felt like a lot of visual noise for me later. And I'm sorry if I'm not giving a great description. I was kind of having trouble staying tuned in.
No, that I feel like that's a really good way of describing it, in a way that kind of gets the picture across. So I know what you mean. It kind of sounds like the skeletal makeup of Made in Abyss without the actual content that makes Made in Abyss, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and maybe it wouldn't be fair to completely compare it to Made in Abyss, because I think it's also a little bit of like a hodgepodge of different things, because eventually the first episode really, I think it might all be set up, because it ends with the like dad like agreeing to kind of let her go on her adventure, but he's gonna go with her, and it's like a father-daughter adventure, like the beginning of that, and they're going together in like a mech and like all that stuff. But like, yeah, like they have like this throughout the whole episode, they have this like very over the top father-daughter dynamic where, you know, she calls him by like his first name and it's like the wrong pronunciation of it, and then he's like, and she has like a weird like first name too. Like her name is Memempu and his name is Gagumber, and like stuff like that. And so like they're just kind of fighting each other the whole episode, and like, you know, all that stuff. But you know,
in like an entertaining or like annoying way.
I mean, I think it's supposed to be entertaining. I just wasn't like feeling it. You know,
intentionally. Its intention is to be entertaining, and result was annoying.
Yeah, like it's supposed to have like a lot of personality, but maybe like, you know, I think other people really enjoyed it. For me, I was like, maybe in episode 2, you know.
Do you think so? Would you recommend I check it out just to see, or do you think it's kind of like?
I think you should check it out, and maybe you
Okay.
might have a different opinion from me. You know, one episode won't kill you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We've all been there with one.
Yeah.
No, that's definitely worth. That sounds interesting. This is a cool. How do you feel about this one? Classbox said it gives me Decadence vibes. Do you feel like that's a good comparison?
I think that's a good one. I
Yeah.
think I only watched a few episodes of Decadence, but I remember the initial thing in it. Yeah, it has a bit of that where it like mixes a bunch of different elements together, and it's So I think that's somewhat accurate.
Cool. Okay, I'm gonna check it out. If it's remotely, something remotely interesting, I'm definitely down. Like,
Did you
unique
watch all of
concept.
Decadence or?
So I was looking at my watch list, which has been kind of embarrassing, and I stopped at like episode 7 for like literally no reason. There's no reason. I was enjoying it, so I'm gonna go back and finish it. But I do think I know what happens because, like, I've absorbed it via unintentional spoilers. But Decadence is one of those, like, I think it's another example for me of like a great seasonal that I would never a great seasonal that I enjoy as a seasonal, but it's kind of tough to go back and watch just like a year and a half later because it's like there's so many interesting but conflicting parts to Decadence where it's like first episode, you think you know what you're in for, then you're like, just kidding, you have all this going on, which is also entertaining, but it's also just kind of like a wild experience. So I feel like, sorry, go ahead.
No. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
I didn't know what I was saying. So go ahead.
No, it's a good way of like putting it. Like, that's what eventually I think this first episode of Sakugan kind of turns into. It like just gets like wild in terms of like you're sort of expecting this, but then becomes like this other thing. So
yeah. So I mean, I think I gotta finish Decadence. I think it was like a solid like 6-7 for me of like a good show that I enjoyed at the time, but I'm not like gonna go out of my way to recommend it unless someone has a very specific like niche show they're looking for.
Yeah. And
sometimes it's cool to just have that like really fun seasonal experience that's not like an all-time classic that you'll harken back to like a year and a half later. Like they're not all gonna be the Made in Abysses or like the Rakugos or the big ones that people are like, yes, like this was an amazing airing experience. I will now talk about this all the time. You can't all be all-time classics. I'm not sure if that's offensive to say with Made in Abyss being only like 4 years old, but I mean, Made in Abyss has already kind of cemented itself as like a show people will go out of their way to recommend. So
yeah. So and I can't knock out a show completely off of just the first episode. So we'll have to see with the second one. But for me so far, it just felt like it was like a lot going on, a lot of visual noise. So yeah.
I like that term, visual noise. I feel like I was like, ooh.
Yeah. There was some CGI. There was some 3D.
Ooh. You could go either way on that one.
That didn't help.
Yeah.
All right. Did you check out? Which I actually heard a lot about this one. I think it's on to episode 4. I've only watched the first episode. Heike Monogatari.
Okay, so like I was doing okay with watching these seasonals. I think I was doing this all on like a Tuesday. I was like on my game.
That's much earlier than me. No. I was like, I'm reading Blue Period on Tuesday. I was reading Blue Period.
No, that was good. So I started Heike Monogatari, and it was right after I think I watched Take, OP Destiny, 86, Komi-san, and My Senpai Is Annoying, like in the same night. I was like on a roll.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna start Heike Monogatari, and like I knew it was gonna be dense because like you see the first opening shot, like it's gonna be dense. So I took a screenshot of the butterfly. I shit posted on Twitter, and then I didn't finish the episode because I was like, I'm tired, and I was gonna get back to it today, and I didn't get a chance to. So I kind of failed. I failed the Yamada fans. I failed myself, and I just shit posted on Twitter instead of finishing the episode. So I failed the podcast.
I mean, I don't think you failed the fans as much because you already failed them with the Liz and the Bluebird.
I'm already a failure, so I didn't redeem myself. I just continued letting them down.
You had your chance, but
it's like Ji-hun in a Squid Game where it's like you failed again. So
again.
Yeah, so I'm in true main character mode, but
and don't feel too bad. I literally only watched it this morning for like breakfast. Like I just put on the first episode.
That's what I was supposed to do, but then I was hungover and didn't do it. And it's like so please fill me in as someone who has not let down Yamada or the fans. and who I don't think has publicly revealed their Liz and the Bluebird score, so you're still in their good graces.
I think I think I said it on my hot take spot. You know what?
I forget.
Let's not
I
remind
forget.
people.
Yeah, I forget. So I mean, the fact that I forget
it's not
means they probably forget. So we're in good.
Yeah.
We're in good. You're the true Yamada stan.
Maybe. But I watched this first episode, and so I heard it was like dense, kind of going in. I heard like some comments about it being dense, but so I was already expecting like maybe I won't know what's going on, but I'll just do my best. And like I don't know, I didn't feel like it was so dense that I couldn't follow what was going on. So what maybe there was some historical context that I was missing, but if I was, then I didn't realize it. I was just kind of following along with what was going on in the episode, and it definitely lives up to the being really well directed, like really kind of like a unique art style. Is Science Saru the ones that worked on Devilman Crybaby? I should have
that's the I think people know it as the why can't I remember? I'm betraying all my things. What is his name? No one tell me. Don't one say it.
Yuasa?
Yuasa, my goat. Okay, I was like, no one say it. I'm not betraying Yuasa too, because I am a big Yuasa stan. So yeah, people kind of refer to it as Yuasa's studio, but he's no longer with Science Saru, so it is formerly Yuasa's studio.
Gotcha. Well, when I saw the art style of this, like it kind of like with very like little shading and stuff with the characters, like it reminded me of like I'm like I've seen this before. I'm like, oh, I think this is like the same studio as like that did Devilman Crybaby, so it looks similar to that, but obviously like more of that historical kind of like kind of Japanese like painting look.
Can I ask what historical period this is? Is it like Edo period or like?
I think so. It's definitely around then. Because there's like people with swords and stuff like that.
So. Okay, because like so like this is really bad, but I feel like. So before I watched Gintama, I knew nothing about Japanese history. And now that I watched Gintama, which is like essentially a parody on like the Edo period in Japan with the Shinsengumi and stuff, I feel like I vaguely understand past Japanese history, which is probably really bad as a source where you're like, oh yeah, I remember it from Gintama. But now that I've seen it, I like recognize random stuff. So I'm like, I saw people talk about how like, oh, I didn't really understand a lot of the references. And I was like, not a problem for me. I've seen the show that references dicks every episode. I'm here. I am good.
I mean, like, yeah, I feel like most of us have kind of picked up kind of all of that stuff from anime. So nothing to be ashamed of. It does compel you to kind of look up more stuff on your own. But yeah, I didn't look up anything. I kind of just watched what was going on, and I thought, it was pretty interesting. Shot really well, and kind of the story, I'm interested to see where it goes. It's kind of like about, like, I'm not too sure where it's going. It's like about like a little girl that can sort of like see the future with like her eye. She has like a heterochromia, I think that's what you call it, like one different colored eye. She can kind of like see the future. Her dad like kind of like fears her like using it or kind of tapping into it, like it's not good to look in the future. There's like this group of like people that go around like kind of killing like other villagers or whatever that speak badly of this like head clan called the Heike clan if they speak anything about them. And so like they're kind of like like beating up or trying to kill these people, and like she's right there with her father like kind of witnessing it, and she wants to speak up. She's like, oh, that's terrible, and like she's gonna go do something, and then the dad pulls her back, like don't do anything. Yeah. And then I think she says something like they're awful or this is awful within ear range of one of the guys kind of up ahead. And these look like young kids, like this group of like this gang or whatever they call it that are like beating up people. I forgot their name. They don't look that old. They kind of look like a little older than her. And so he happens to overhear what she said, and then he kind of starts to approach over, and then the dad like blocks her, and he's like, no, like she's just a child, she doesn't know what she said. And he's like, all right, then you'll accept her punishment. He like kills him. Dad's dead. Yeah. In front of her. And then it's like, oh, that sucks. Okay. And then I don't know, it changes perspective because it goes to show us like the Heike clan, like some old guy, I think he's the head of the clan, and he is sort of like bored, like he's just looking for amusement, because he kind of has everything now. His whole family is like part of this clan, and they're kind of like 60 of them are like officials and all of that. and I don't know, like his son, I think it's his son, doesn't like fully like agree with him on what he wants to do. And then while his son goes like, and I'm sorry guys if this is like a lot. It's like I'm like
No, this
recapping
is
the whole episode.
important.
It's like
You hooked.
pretty
No, you
dense.
got me on it.
But like he goes outside and then like he happens to like he's just standing there like holding his eye, and then he like sees like the snow falling, and as he sees a snowflake fall, he hears like the sound of, I don't know what this instrument is. Like, it's called the biwa, or that's what they said it in Japanese. I don't know the English name.
I feel like I know what it sounds like,
Yeah.
even though I don't know the instrument off the top of my head. But I just imagine like Japanese strings.
I mean, I could totally look it up, but I'm being like lazy right now.
No,
But
that's fair.
it's it's a Japanese short-necked wooden lute traditionally used in narrative storytelling. So there you go.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he hears the sound of like someone playing that, and then he looks back, and it's like the girl, and then she's just like, I just want to let you know that your clan, your people, coming to an end. And then
Dude, spitting
she-
fire. Get
she
him.
just straight up tells him, and then he's just like, he kind of wants to hear more, but like then his like guards come out like with like the sword, like ready to like do something, and he's like, no, don't worry about it. And then long story short, it turns out that like he wants to see, he's interested in seeing what she sees. Like he's a believer that she can see the future, because he also has an eye that can see dead people, like can see dead people roaming. And in that moment, he's able to see like her father was killed, and he was killed by his people. And he's like,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for all of that. And then he decides to like take her in. And then
That's like such a good synopsis. I haven't heard anything about this, and I'm too lazy to finish it. But this is like a good selling point.
yeah, and then he takes her in, and I think they thought she was like a boy because she dresses like a boy, but it's a girl. I mean, I thought it was a girl, but you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think he takes her in, and then she doesn't want to really stay, but then he's like, please do. And then it kind of like flashes a little bit forward, not too far, like with her like kind of getting to know like his sons who were kind of like brats and whatever, and like kind of mingling with them. And I think that's most of it. I think it's supposed to like follow along like what like this clan is doing, and it might lead to their ruin. And maybe she's gonna experience these like tragedies and kind of like be the one to tell about them. I don't know, because there's like, it does cut to like a scene of this white-haired lady like kind of speaking about like what happened in the past, sort of. And I think it might be her. I'm not entirely sure. So
That's exciting. I'm down. That sounds really cool. I think you did a good job explaining that.
yeah, so I don't know. I'm interested. It definitely I guess it was dense, but you know, it's I don't know, it wasn't hard to follow. I didn't feel like I needed any extra, you know, kind of stuff about the time period to kind of understand what was going on there, but you know, I probably could appreciate it more if I did know. But yeah, I'm interested in checking out the episode 2 or in 3 and 4, or kind of seeing where it goes.
I'm excited. That's exciting. Well, it seems like there's a lot to catch up on for it. So, yeah, hopefully I feel the same. I have heard some people feeling kind of disappointed with it. Maybe they had high expectations considering who's working on it between Yamada and Kenshi Ushio.
Yeah.
Kensuke Ushio, and you know, they're like, you know, they've worked together, I think either as much, probably around the same much as Ushio and Yuasa. Like they've have some really like iconic series together, from Liz and the Bluebird to A Silent Voice. Like, you know, they have a good track record. So I think there's high expectations for the series. So I mean, if you feel like they've lived up to it, that's kind of cool. So I'm definitely interested.
Based on the first episode, I think it gave me the intrigue. So again, there's 4 episodes out, so that's you know, quite a bit. If people maybe felt more disappointed in the later episodes, I'd have to see. But I'm interested enough to at least check out an episode 2. Like there's curiosity here.
Yeah, there
as
is.
opposed
They're
to what the
speaking
other
to
shows.
us from the future, just like she's speaking from the future. She's like, they're like, hey, this is going to be disappointing, and it's like, how do you know? It's like the episodes are out. You could just watch them.
I am always wary, like if that is her from the future, like I am always wary with when they do that, like as a narrative device or whatever, because it just can go one way or the other. Like it kind of could make it less interesting, because like, oh well, you already know for a fact, like you know, this panned out this way, or you know, it depends what they do with it. But I haven't heard too much else.
Yeah.
What else did you check out?
So that one was one I was supposed to check out and blew off because I suck. The other one I checked out was one of the anticipated sequels, 86 Part 2. So it's definitely like, I It's not even really much of a sequel. Like, we say it is, but it's really just a split core.
Yeah, split core.
So like they really just picked off right where they left off. It's like, the spoil. Am I spoiling people? Am I spoiling the masses on 86? Essentially, they show the two different groups: the main character, the main girl, the main guy. I want to be kind of vague in case I'm spoiling someone, but
yeah, I mean, if we don't want to spoil, that's fine. It's really the second core, like you were saying, and I don't know. Like, I guess the interesting thing about part 2 that I like is it's kind of like a whole different dynamic now. With the characters. So now you're kind of, because the first season was just sad upon sad upon sad.
Yeah.
So here, like, at least they have a chance to kind of, like be in a different environment, and there's possibilities for something else, meeting new characters.
Yeah. New dynamic in a certain, the new dynamic in a certain light will be interesting to explore because we kind of, we get a better sense of the world building and the environment. So that should be interesting to follow up on. I have to get around to episode 2. This is like a very out of nowhere opinion. I lied. It's another opening comment. It's a comment on the opening. I feel like both 86 openings are like so cool looking and so immaculate, and I don't like either of the songs. And I'm like, why do you guys keep doing this? These visuals are great. You got the like metaphorical symbolism going on with the visuals. They're very polished. They look really good. And I don't care about either song. And I think people do like the songs.
Chad, is that a hot take? I think
it's a hot take. But I'm just like frustrated because I'm like, literally just get another song. I'm sorry, no disrespect, but I just don't like it. So
why don't you like it? Like, is it like not hype enough for you? Like, could you pinpoint what it is?
I remember the first one more than the second one because I've only seen the first episode, so I saw the opening once. But the first one for season 1 was so whiny, like nah, 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 nah. Like that's like what I remember from it, and I'm like, oh, like this is why people think this show is vapid. If like this opening is so annoying in their ears, like nah, 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 like stop, just
Oh, I think I remember it now.
Yeah, it's like you're getting triggered by my bad singing is triggering.
I mean, I think the second opening, and it could be the visuals that are kind of like, that I'm mixing up with, that I'm like thinking, it's really good just because of the visuals. But I don't know. I feel like the second opening is okay.
Yeah, definitely better. I'm not saying it's bad.
But it's not something that I'm like gonna, run to my iTunes and be like, is it out yet? I need to listen to it. I just, I'll definitely forget it after this season. So
that's how I feel about it. And the visuals are so good for it that I'm like, I was really impressed with them. And then I'm like, but this song, why are they doing this? I was just disappointed with that. But maybe I'll get Stockholmed into it. You listen to an OP like 3 or 4 times, and sometimes you're like, oh no, I like this now. So maybe it just needs that.
That one might have the potential to be that, You have to listen to it enough. But anything else on, what is it, like 2-3 episodes that have aired so far? I watched the third episode yesterday, I think.
I didn't get to see the second or third episode. I started it and then I started falling asleep, not because of the show. I was just sleepy. So no disrespect to 86. I think I don't know, if they just keep going and doing what they're doing, I'm probably just going to be pretty chill with it. I don't know why this one has really captured my attention as much as it did. I did not anticipate this because first couple episodes, I wasn't of season 1, core 1, whatever. I was like, oh yeah, whatever. But somehow I really felt compelled by the characters and their struggle and the way that they go about these themes that we've seen adapted so many different times.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like I'm along for the ride. I'm not expecting like an all-time classic, but I'm expecting like some interesting, fun stuff.
Yeah. It's funny how we were like opposite on that. Like first few episodes, like, nah, this is gonna be like masterpiece of the season, and you're like, yeah, whatever. And then by the end of the season, I'm like, and you're like, nah, this was good.
Yeah. The directing is really good. I think
I agree with that.
Yeah, very good production values, like very interestingly presented. And I think the characters are interesting enough. I think the way I think of light novels, a lot of times I think of them as kind of like young adult novels that we have in the US, and this one really does kind of like make me feel nostalgic for my Hunger Games days. And I really like the Hunger Games, even though I think people kind of clown on it now, but I always liked the Hunger Games. And I feel like this one kind of reminds me of that. And so it's kind of like a comfortable feeling. That's just kind of the emotional attachment I feel with it.
Yeah. I feel like, again, I was sort of more down on the first season just because it felt like incomplete. Like it was like,
Yeah.
okay, this just feels like tragedy, and I'm like, okay. I just kind of wanted to see the comeback or you
Yeah.
know something with them, like being able to
Yeah.
get out of their situation. And I feel like now I'm a little more interested to see where that goes now with these possibilities of like a new dynamic and
Yeah.
what they can do. I still think you know they're handling it really well. You know, even if
Yeah.
it doesn't go that way, all the themes are being really executed really well, especially with the characters that are left.
That are alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm definitely down with it. I'm excited to see. It seems like one that people are either kind of like love or hate. I mean, I'm definitely more on the love side, but I think it's just fun. It's interesting to see. So
Yeah. Yeah.
fingers
That's one of the
crossed.
ones I look forward to watching every week. So
Yeah.
let's see. I don't want to go into any more other season 2 shows. I think there's only 2
Why?
more. Well, I want to see if did we talk about it? Oh, okay. One other show. I don't know if you checked this out because we were both. I remember us talking about this like a month ago, and we were both like, no, like on just checking it out. We were gonna pass on it. Osama Ranking, which was the
Oh
one with
no,
like
we
the
were gonna do
baby
that.
on the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know they
and
say like don't judge a book by its cover, but we definitely
we
judged the shit
totally
out of
did.
it.
We were just, we were totally being superficial.
Yeah.
And then I heard like, oh, it's like doing really good, and like, or like the first episode was really good. And I was like, all right, okay,
So
I'll
you
check
checked it out.
So I checked it out, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
It's interesting. Like it was a little strange and a little confusing in the beginning because it's like a very like unique like art style. Like it does not look like other anime. It looks more like it kind of looks like it gives you a Ghibli vibe, but also like a Disney vibe, like old
Yeah.
school Disney. Especially with the backgrounds. Backgrounds are gorgeous. But the
Ooh.
character art style is more where like it's unique in the sense of like maybe like One Piece. Like you know how One Piece like looks, especially in the beginning, looks very different from other anime.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, where it's like kind of quirky, kind of like leans a little bit more towards you know, the bizarre. But
Yeah.
it's not incredibly bizarre, but yeah. So that's what like was like, okay. And then I wasn't sure where it was going because like the main character, it's like this little boy who we saw on the cover,
Yeah.
and he's like tiny, and it shows him in the beginning like I don't know, it's like he's like a baby and he's being held by like I think his mom, but he's like the size of like her index finger or like just the tip of her index finger. I'm like, why is he so small? But anyways, so I wasn't sure where it was going, and he meets this like creature like shadow thing like on the ground that has like 2 eyes or whatever, and then like it kind of follows him. Like apparently the little boy is like deaf and he can't speak, so he just makes sounds, and he like approaches this thing because he just wants to kind of like talk to people or make friends because no one really like takes him seriously or they make fun of him or whatever. And he can kind of actually read lips, so he kind of knows what people are saying, but he can't really like communicate or say anything back. He does like speak sign language or something. But anyways, this thing, I think its name is Kage, sees him and just like steals like his clothes or tells him to take off his clothes, and he just steals it. And then he like takes advantage of him and tells him to come every day and just bring him a new set of clothes. And then he just steals it every time. And then he just calls him like, oh, he's just like an idiot. He just keeps coming back and like just giving me his clothes. And then it just turns out like I think he just really like likes being able to talk to someone. And so again, like I'm like here still not knowing where it's going, and then it goes back into the court, and then you start seeing like the dynamic of like how he's sort of treated and like where he kind of falls into it. I think he's like the first prince, and like there's like a second queen because the first queen died, but he was like the son of the first queen, and he's like sort of like a disappointment. And like the second prince is like, I don't know, a lot more competent than him and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I don't have too much to say because not a lot happened in the first episode.
Yeah.
Just like no one, it just sets up the dynamic of sort of like where the like what the court kind of is and what he falls into it, and sort of like how people don't expect a lot out of him. And then by the end, it ends up with like him like going to fight his brother. And it turns out people are just like, oh, he's just gonna lose, and then it turns out like he's dodging all of his like brother's moves, and so there's something about him, and then and also he has this adamant determination that he's gonna be like the greatest king, and like and nothing gets him down. So I don't know, it was like a little bit like, oh, heartwarming, like charming. I'm like, okay, I want to see where this goes.
Nice.
And the fact that it also looks so different was also like, oh, this is definitely different from everything else. So
that's exciting. Okay, I'm definitely gonna check it out then. I didn't know what to expect. I think part of me is also so kind of ever since I saw Ousama game, the word Ousama kind of was like stay away. So this definitely sounds very different. You know, naturally the word king is like, you know, I can't associate it all with bad things. So
yeah,
I'm excited to check it out. That's like very high praise.
Yeah, and there's something. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say there was probably something else about the ranking system and why it's in the title, but it escapes me right now. I can't fully.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
We should do a series called Onimaru Explain series, because I feel like you're doing a great job of explaining these like not very straightforward series.
I guess. I'm doing my best here.
I think it's good.
What I can remember.
Definitely better than me, where it's like, and then this thing happened, and then they jumped out.
You do a great job of explaining.
I don't know about that. Yeah. We'll find out. We'll find out.
Have a poll.
I'm gonna break the poll.
Let's see. So that's it for like. Oh no, there's one other new show I did check out. Did you check out anything else that was new?
I did not. I betrayed Replay Value. I'm not sure if this is the one you're talking about.
I didn't check that one out. Sorry.
No, we betrayed. Sorry, Replay Value. We will check it out in the future. At least me. I won't speak for Onimaru. No, those were all the new shows I checked out. So what is the last one on your list?
And chat, or for audio listeners that are listening, the one we were talking about that we didn't check out, it was Taisho Otome Otogi Banashi, which I think I heard through Shaw that Replay Value was like recommending.
Yeah, it's one of his favorite mangas, so he's very hyped on it. So I was gonna check it out, see what's up, and I think he liked it. So
we'll see. Let me know if it's good when you check it out. You know, I might check it out. But the only other one I watched was Mieruko-chan. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, which is like supposed to be like a horror comedy. And if you guys don't want to explain the whole synopsis of it, I can spare you. But there's really not much to it. It's sort of like about like a high school girl. And long story short, besides all like the setup between like her and her friend and going to school, like, and it does this like eerie buildup, like sort of there's just something like weird things that she's kind of noticing in the background, and kind of knowing that it's like a horror genre type of show. And you're like, okay, some creepy shit's probably gonna start happening at some point. And it goes through like half the episode until at one point she's like at a bus stop and she starts like seeing like a ghost, like a hideous kind of like not an undead, but like a ghost sort of spirit thing. And it's like this interesting like sequence where, you know, anime has a hard time being like creepy or scary, but I think this one kind of pulled off that atmosphere, because it's like she's on her phone and she's texting her friend and she sends a picture of herself on the bus stop, and then like her friend texts back the same exact picture, and she's just like, you know, why is she sending the same picture? And then the next text is the same picture again, and then the same picture again.
Oh, that like gets you creeped out. You're like,
and then suddenly like the Siri of the phone starts acting up, like, sorry, I didn't quite get that. Sorry, I didn't quite get that. Sorry, I didn't quite. And then she's like, why is that happening? And then the phone, like the image just starts spamming until it just goes like a mile a minute. And then you start seeing like the image of this ghost thing like popping up. And then she like freaks out, throws the phone, grabs it again. And then it's all normal. Her friend had just texted her, oh, you know, I'll go get you an umbrella or something. And then she's relieved. She looks up, the ghost thing is like right in front of her. And then she's like, you know, like, and then he's like saying like, you can see me, you can see me, right? And he keeps asking the same question, because I think like, I don't know what's going to happen if he realizes that she can actually see him, and she can. And then she starts playing it off like she can't see him. Like, you know, there's, I got to reply back to her and like whatever. And so pretty much she keeps doing that until he kind of like goes away. And then she's like scared shitless. And then it happens again, like she's in the bathroom, some other different ghost is like, can you see me? Can you see me? And she has to like play it off that she's not actually seeing him till it goes away. And so whatever. And then, I don't know, it was more building up the horror part, but I did bust out laughing, like, because now like this is like a new phenomenon for her. She's never able to see ghosts before.
Yeah.
And like, now it's like just kind of happening frequently in her daily life. So then she goes to bed and she like peeks under the cover. So the other two ghosts were asking like, "Can you see me?" And she peeks under the cover and there's a like hideous ghost thing like by her stomach. And as like soon as she opens it, it says, "Mama." And then she just closes it back and looks up. And then I just started laughing. I was just like, because it's so like, I know she's scared, but it's treated as so like, you know, I don't know, like matter of fact, like she's just like, I have to deal with this shit. Like I'm scared, but I'm just not gonna look. And then
That's such a like interesting way of doing it too, because it's like, okay, if she confirms she can see the ghost, will it get better or worse for her? You know,
I don't know. And that's like
the question.
And I think like, so the episode just kind of ended at like her just saying like I can see them, you know, and it just like in her mind, because she encounters another ghost at school and now it's kind of happening frequently. And she's just like scared that she can actually see them. And then that was kind of it. So
I do want, maybe that's going to be the comedy part, is she sees all these dumb ghosts and she has to be like, don't see them, don't see them, don't see them.
Yeah, it didn't give a lot, but you know, that part at least was funny. Some people have been talking about like the fan service or whatever in the show apparently wasn't in the manga. I will say it did have some gratuitous and explicit ass shots, you know. Like it didn't have a lot.
Ghost
like, I
POV.
think like 3 or 4 times of the girl. So, but like it didn't bother me because again, I've seen worse, but also I kind of like associate with horror specifically. And I'm not a big horror fan, but I always associate sexuality to kind of go hand in hand with horror for some reason. Like it's just sort of, kind of like they always tie those two together.
Yeah, so. I can definitely see that.
Yeah. So I'm not saying it's an improvement for it and they should have added it. It's just sort of like, oh, you know, it's just there. It's not really needed, but it's there. So yeah, it was okay first episode. I'm curious actually to check out the second episode and see where it goes.
Yeah, that's exciting. I mean, I think you probably did it more justice than it would have had if I watched it. Just because I'm very much not a horror person, I'd probably get scared by it, even if it's like cringy. So
I'm not a horror person at all, but I am interested to see, because I don't get scared from anime horror. So I'm interested to see if there's an anime that can actually pull it off, you know.
I feel like the only ones that like do a good job, I think anime does like psychological thrillers a lot better than horror. Blue. Yeah, like Perfect Blue is probably the scariest anime out there.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
Yeah, that's like, and they do a good job with it, but
yeah, so you know, so that's kind of it. And also the fact that it's horror and comedy, you know, it's not full out horror, so I think you could probably watch it. Like, did you ever watch Cabin in the Woods?
No, I've heard funny things about it.
Okay. I've always heard great things. Still on my plans to watch list. I haven't watched it.
You haven't seen.
I've always heard great things.
I've seen the anime Mieruko. I've seen that. Did you see that?
No, I did not.
Mieruko is like Mieruko is an experience. It's one of those shows that I'm still not really sure if it's good or bad. How much was intentional? How much wasn't? I don't know. It was entertaining but ridiculous. The jury is out, and like people are really of conflicting opinions on it. If it was an intentional parody of horror anime or not, no one knows.
No one knows.
No one actually knows, because there's been like conflicting reports, at least on my end. But it's probably another one of those seasonals that should stay as seasonal. But that one's just a ridiculous show. It's like all these people give up on their lives because they want to die essentially. So they go on this like bus tour they go on this like haunted bus tour to go to this like abandoned village, and they go there, like shit starts going wrong and weird, and like I still don't even remember the full details. It was like the weirdest shit. But it was really funny. Like someone's name is like Soy Latte. Like I'm not joking.
Okay, so you don't even know if the funny was intentional. It was just sort
I don't know. Okay. It was just like it was a wild time. It was a wild time.
I mean, we could talk about it.
We could watch it again. I would be funny.
We'll see. You know,
that could be our Halloween stream.
It is the month, you know.
It is Spooktober.
Yeah. So you didn't check out anything else in terms of other new anime?
No, Mushoku Tensei season 2 next on the list.
You still haven't checked that one out?
So I started the episode again, and then I realized I had Spanish subs instead of the right subs, so I re-downloaded it.
Fun.
So that one's next on the list. I didn't check out any other new shows, so
Yeah, I did watch Mushoku Tensei the first 2 episodes. I can see why people are peeved.
So I saw someone. So this one dude got mad about it, and I think he got like there was a bit of a Twitter mishap, and it turned into this whole thing of like, if you don't like something, why are you watching it? And
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like, I don't agree with that sentiment, but it was also like, it's just kind of tough because like, we had our Mushoku Tensei discussion. If anyone hasn't seen it, check it out. And we both had like positive and negative things to say about it to varying degrees. But like, even if there are some parts that we don't like about it, there's enough there that you want to keep watching. And it's like, you're never just going to be like, okay, I like all of this right now, or I dislike all of this, it's a mixed bag. So I don't think it's fair to be like, well, I didn't like this one scene, so I'm just going to drop all of it if I like the other parts of it. So, sometimes it's worth just complaining about stuff you don't like because it is getting in the way of the stuff you do like. So
yeah, that's definitely fair. There was some points in the second season where I like, okay, that's not too bad. And then I'm like, okay, that's I'm gonna have to put that far in the back of my mind while
the
I
copium.
watch. Woo!
I haven't seen the episode that people are talking about that they're annoyed with. We'll have to see if it's like kind of standard fare for Mushoku Tensei, or if it's kind of like if it's a bit more than what people expected. But
yeah.
I'm not gonna.
We should
I'm
we
still
should
gonna
just take it scene by scene, just a full breakdown, just like, all right, was this too much? Yay or nay?
Yeah, but I think it'll probably be like the same as season 1, which is like,
I mean, it's kind of like when we talked about Made in Abyss. I think it was just you and me talking about it, and then like I was talking about the movie, and then and you were just like, yeah, but you've seen the show, so like, how is it?
Yeah, I didn't think it was too different from the show, but I also think it's totally fair that like you could watch the show and not be bothered by it, and then see the movie and be like, okay, this is a bit too much. Yeah. Like, I think it's definitely fair to not like, you don't have to be like uncomfortable at every single thing. Like, it's like I think sometimes people are like, oh, it's hypocritical because like this other thing is uncomfortable and you like it. And it's like, not everyone is going to be uncomfortable by the same things executed the same way, even within the same show. So like,
Yeah, definitely makes sense. Only other thing I have here to talk about is Demon Slayer season 2, which isn't really much. So I wasn't trying to save this for the end because it was just sort of like, do you know what happened with season 2 of Demon Slayer? Or?
So is the thing that it's like they're adapting the movie for like 6 or 7 episodes?
Yes. Yeah. So it's 7 episodes. So season 2 isn't really going to kick off till December. Like the actual season 2.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna chill until then because like I've seen the movie, so we're kind of good.
That's what I'm doing, but I did check out the first episode, not because I wanted to. My fiance put it on. I was like, all right, I'll see what they're doing, and it does give you stuff that isn't in the movie. So it gives you like the backstory to or where Rengoku was like right before, like and how that like because like the movie sort of starts a little bit in the middle, like sort of like they're already at the train. Like this is more of like, okay, who gave him the mission? How did he kind of sort of decide to do this? Where he got his ramen from or his food that he was eating on the train?
Yeah,
and some more character interactions that kind of give you a good lead up. So I did hear it was done pretty well. I'm just sort of like, I'll just wait.
I'll just wait. I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, but I'm good. It seems like that's like one for the like hardcore fans, and it's like, thank you, but I'm good.
Yeah. As clarification to the chat, the first app is extra content, but the other 6 apps are just movie content. So
gotcha.
Well, I'm still gonna wait.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat asked, can you summarize what's the negatives in Mushoku Tensei other than the moral warrior stuff?
Are we the moral warriors? Are we the defender of justice?
I don't care enough to do it. So
yeah. So it's not like, so I was complaining about like some of the characters I felt like some of the characters and world building were a bit shallow and weren't as interesting as weren't like super interesting. So that was kind of my thing. Is like I don't also consider myself a moral warrior. I'm on the same, like if I have an issue with something, it's not like, I'm affronted to the morality of humankind. It's just like stuff that I find uncomfortable or counterintuitive for the message of the series. So like, it's never like, it's never that deep. It's just like, oh, I think this could be handled a bit better. And I think with Mushoku Tensei, it's the case of like, is the stuff outside of the potentially the uncomfortable sus stuff super interesting? And for me, it's like sometimes yes, sometimes no. So
it's like the quote unquote objectionable content in Mushoku Tensei. It's not that. It's like not too much about it being like, oh, you know, why is it there? And we're mad that it's there. It's a lot of the times the way it's executed, it gets in the way of like its themes or what it's trying to do, or sometimes there was like a few things that were like, okay, that didn't really need to be in there. It did sort of like, you know, take away from sort of where the story was going. So not all instances, but some instances, at least for me. So
yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I think it's like now is probably not anyway, this is my friend Rev says, I'm not a more warrior Sang-woo stan, so real. That's me. Yeah, I defended Sang-woo in Squid Game. Like I'm not here for the morals, I'm here for the fan cams and edits. That's all I'm here for. So if you guys want to hear more about that, like like I'd say just check out our episode on it. I feel like we had a really like in-depth, good back and forth discussion where we both explained our points well. They followed up saying I would have a problem with the sus stuff if the series was trying to promote it, which I don't think the series is doing. And we kind of talked on that a bit more, where I think it kind of plays both sides a bit, and that's kind of what it came down to.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't actively try to promote it. I think it's just indulges it a bit. That kind of muddles the message.
Yeah.
But hey, I still like the show. But anyways, check out that episode if you're interested.
Check out that episode. Yeah. So
in terms of Sang-woo from Squid Game, you know,
did nothing wrong.
He did what he had to do, you know.
Did nothing wrong. I show you the fan cam I saw of it that someone posted, and it's like, okay, I'm not trying to sound like a K-pop stan or something, but like it's just like really well made with the music. So I just like watched it like 20 times, and I'm like, this is really cool. I think I'm a stan. So I'm gonna send that to you.
It sounds thirsty, you know. So.
It's not that thirsty. It's like moderately thirsty, but it could be worse. I've seen like 3 fan cams I think are really well done, and it's not for none of them are characters I thirst after. I am.
I actually saw I don't know. Are we done talking about the fall 2021 anime?
Oh, sorry. If you have more, then we can get into fan cams. The true subject matter.
I don't have anything else. I think that's kind of it. I checked out stuff I'm likely to be continuing. Definitely My Senpai Is Annoying. Like high ranking stuff that I'm definitely continuing. My Senpai Is Annoying. Mushoku Tensei Season 2. Obviously 86. Ousama Ranking. And Komi-san. Those are definite.
Let's do your top 3 first episodes.
Okay. So I think it would be okay. Are we including season 2s? No, right?
Yeah. Just do shows that are airing first episodes of like seasons, like fall 2021 seasonals.
Okay, I would say Komi-san, My Senpai Is Annoying, and let's see. Maybe Mushoku Tensei Season 2.
Okay. I will do Komi-san, My Senpai Is Annoying, and then I guess 86 Part 2. I think that's... But it's really like Komi-san and My Senpai Is Annoying is like in their own tier. Like
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Because there are some episodes that I enjoyed, but they weren't like that, you know, amazing.
Yeah.
And stuff that I'm still curious to continue, but don't know if I'll watch all the way through is Mieruko-chan, Ousama Ranking, maybe Takt Op Destiny.
I'll keep watching that. I'll keep watching that.
Keep me filled in.
I'll keep you filled in. We'll tag team the season.
The breakdown.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did see that you. So that's it for the fall stuff. If we missed anything in chat that we didn't cover, if we missed anything that we didn't cover, let us know in chat.
Yeah. Or in the comments if you're watching this after, shows we should check out that we missed.
If you haven't watched Squid Game, watch Squid Game. Shaw made a tier list of the hottest characters in it, and it blindsided me. I didn't expect it.
Yeah, this is like the least offensive tier list I've ever made, and it's still offensive. So
just the main character hotter than Sang-woo, and
that was pre fan cam. That was pre edit. I might have to switch up on it now.
I was just like,
okay. But You have to okay, this can be our post-show comment. This can be our post-show content. This is the real show. We're all warmed up. This is the real discussion.
Yeah. Oh wait, so are we done?
I think I'm pretty much done.
So yeah, we've got nothing else to say about the fall anime. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Check out our hot takes submission form, because next week we will be tackling all of the community's hot takes. Whatever you've got, throw it at us. We will be forced to unpack it live on stream. And then, besides that, definitely don't forget to let us know what you think about the anime airing this season, what you're most excited about, because after all, what do we know? We're just weebs. And that's that. Now let's get the real content going.
Okay. So this was offensive because so everyone was making Squid Game character tier lists, and like I think I had pretty generic takes on them as like actual characters. I don't think there's too much variance in this. But then I was like, okay, fuck this. We're doing it based on how hot they are. So then I offended society by making the top tier is the hot in all caps tier, and that had the detective, the slap guy, and the main character. And then I made a second tier that said still hot, which is still saying they're hot. It's just like they're still hot. And then it had Sunwoo, the main girl, and then the girl who's the friend. And then next tier is not hot, but I love you, and that's Ali. And then the rest of the cast is in not hot because it's like the fucking doll, the gangster guy, the guy in the mask.
I saw some people thirsty for the gangster guy.
I saw that too. Did you see that Netflix thing they posted where the cast is doing the honeycomb game and the gangster guy was getting DMs of like, let's go to the bathroom.
Oh, I heard that, or I saw that. Yeah, that was really funny.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
But I would like to change my tier list. I would put Sangwoo in the top tier after seeing multiple edits of him. But yeah, that's where I stand. I take it back.
I will have to check that out. But I mean, like, slap guy, top tier.
Slap guy is like, okay, I expected everyone to be on my level simping over the detective guy. I thought he was like the standout guy, but everyone's like, nah, slap guy. Slap guy.
There's just something about slap guy.
Yeah. My fiance was like, I told him about it. He's like, yeah, slap guy is the best. He's like, detective not as good. He's like, my fiance's like, no, his brother is better. He's like, how dare you? How dare you to offend? How dare you defy the detective guy?
Detective guy's brother is better?
That's what he said. He said he was hotter.
I don't agree.
Thank you. I don't agree. No, he's like, man. He looks firm, too like rigid. I don't know why that's a thing.
I mean, when he took off the mask, I'm like, put it back on, man. He looked hot.
And this is like the Korea Brad Pitt, and you're like, put the mask back on, fam.
Put the mask back on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I've never seen Train to Busan. So now I have more incentive, which is strangely enough to see it.
Yeah, now we're gonna do it even for the slap guy.
Always heard great things, So
me too. I'm gonna it's K-drama season after Squid Game, where it's like, let's go see what all these guys are in. Let's go.
K-drama rabbit hole. Let's go. Jess Weebs first special.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's the special everyone wanted.
No, it's the special no one wanted, no one asked for, but
no one wanted or asked for it. Yeah, I think that should be funny, but no, I've gone back because I don't know if you've seen, probably not, which is probably good for you. There are like dumbasses on Twitter being like, Sangwoo was the real villain all along, and it's like, how do you miss the point that much? That like, no one's the villain, like the system is the villain, like the VIPs are the villain. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And I totally like get, because I was thinking about it some more after, like why people would be really mad at Sangwoo, and it is because of the Ali thing, but it's like he used, because I was trying to think of like if it was fair what he did, which it wasn't, because it was like he used he did play the game because he used one advantage that he did have over Ali, which was his own kindness and trust in him, that admiration.
He Griffithed him. Yeah.
He Griffithed him. And I'm like, well, is that fair? And I'm like, no, because the game is supposed to be, kind of fair and equal and playing by the rules. But I'm like, well, I tried to counter argument. I was like, well, they were kind of forced to play to the death, and like
Yeah.
that changes things. But I'm like, well, they weren't forced though. They chose it. They chose to go back. So they knew what was on the line. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I can't defend him.
Yeah, but I think most people would do something similar in that situation. Like, I don't know.
Ali was crushing him. Like fair and square, Ali was
Yeah, he was slaying at marbles.
Yeah.
I think it is funny though, because I think people, and by people I mean myself, I think he was more warranted pushing that guy off the glass than he was screwing over Ali.
Yes.
Yeah. I think everyone's on the same page with that. It's like, bye, bitch. Like,
I mean, he just needed to give him like 10 more seconds. Maybe he would have.
But they had 20 seconds. That's what I mean. I remember.
Like that one's fair, because it's like literally you have 20 seconds left. Like you got to rush. Like you got to do something. You're all gonna die. Either this one guy dies. Like, yeah. But that game was not fair. That game was not.
That was not a game. I'm still mad about that.
That's just terrifying. Nailed the terrifyingness of it, and definitely interesting, but not fair. But that's when the VIPs just all stopped caring. It was like, all right, this is just a show. I don't have a fear of heights, but now I do. I'm just gonna say that. Yeah. You don't have a fear of heights. I didn't before then, but now I don't know. I do. But I'll still ride roller coasters, which is just weird. Yeah, well, that makes sense, because you're like buckled in, you're fine, and you go by fast. Yeah. No. Yeah. No, I think as you get older, you do get more of a fear of heights. Because my fiance wasn't afraid of heights, and then it's like he woke up one day and he's like, I'm afraid of heights. Yeah. But I'm sorry to the chat. Like, I know you just made it through a whole Squid Game episode last week. I'm sorry. Like, it's still here. I'm like, the old man is still in the thumbnail. I think that's really like funny. I think that's like our funniest thumbnail. I think that's like the funniest reaction image is the guy just like. I mean, I really thought that was the vibe for this fall season. There's just so much to watch, having fun with it. We're just jumping around. I just think it's so funny. That's such a good thumbnail. Yeah. Thank you. Good job. Thank you. Everyone. Yay. Yeah. That was like my way of phoning in, not getting us on the thumbnail. I'm like, let's just put the old man, he definitely captures the vibe more. Oh yeah, Rev is saying people call Sangwoo a sociopath and saying things like his actions at the end of episode 8 being too much drives me crazy. It's like, I don't get how they don't get the point that it's like, listen, he wasn't a sociopath. It's he's more of like Gi-hyun, or Gi-hyun is the ideal. Sangwoo is like reality. This is what we would be like if we expectations, were like, reality. Smart. Yeah. Like someone that's actually more that I question every day, who's whether he's a sociopath or not, is Tony Soprano. That's more of like, is he not? Because he's more in that gray area. He's more gabagool. I just see it everywhere. I hate that. Was such a dumb thing to say. I hate it. Why do I keep saying gabagool? But it's so good. I played a D&D game, my first one. Like 2 months back with friends, and I named myself Gabagool, and I was a barbarian, and so I just was just acting stupid the whole time. It's just like, that's so great. How was your first D&D playing? Because my dad loves D&D, so it was really fun. And I told my friends I was retiring Gabagool after that because it was just a test run. So I was like, yeah, and they were like, no, we're gonna miss Gabagool. Like, bring him back, Gabagool 2.0. Because I was like, I saw that my stats were like, my intelligence was like really, really low. So I'm like, okay. So I just played Gabagool as pretty much like a muscular frat boy, Yeah. That's so funny. Based on a true story, The Sopranos. Just kidding. Yeah, it was funny. That's really funny. But D&D was like super fun. It was cool. Don't have much else to say. I'm excited to play it again. So. Oh, that's cool. Are you gonna come back with a new character this time? I might. I think I'm interested in playing a bard. Yeah. Yeah. Because my friend was like playing a bard, and he like took out his iPad and he put like the instrument like thing on it, and he was just like playing the strings every once occasionally. So I'm like, what would I do if I was a bard? Maybe play like J-pop music. Oh, this is a good question. Roasting Mal when? Maybe we should do that after roasting our fan base. It'll just be roasting Mal. I don't think I'm qualified to roast Mal. I think you are. You just gotta go. You just gotta believe in yourself. I think it'd be. That's a nice way of putting it. You just gotta believe in yourself. You gotta believe you're qualified. You know what? You know what it is.
no one thinks they have the capability of roasting Mal until they see a truly terrible Mal list, and it just comes out of you naturally, where
It
you're like,
just comes out. You know, you
where
just
you
have to
just
put
look
a
at
really
it.
heavy disclaimer ahead of it, and then you're good for the rest of it.
Yeah.
I, I'm just really tempted. I don't know why I got this idea recently, but just to have this like really like overproduced, like Just Weeb special, like has like about a topic that isn't like even that remotely serious, but just make it so serious. And maybe it
Yeah,
could be roasting Mal,
that would be funny.
certified experts roasting Mal.
I don't know if I should bring this up, but I want to see if people are interested in or not. But I brought up forcing my dad to watch Neon Genesis Evangelion again and like vlogging it. And he was like not against it. I don't know if our fan base would be interested in that.
I am interested.
Okay, you're interested. So we got one. We got one, but I think it would be funny.
I think it needs to happen. So would we have like interviews afterward?
I was thinking of like recording him in real time and then interviewing. We could do like an episode by episode special of like
Shaw's dad cameo.
Shaw's dad.
We'll first tackle the series, then we'll tackle End of Evangelion.
And then the rebuilds. We have the rebuilds.
Yeah, then the rebuilds. We'll see.
It'd be funny. Every time he falls asleep, dock his pay.
Yeah.
So he dock him for that. That would be funny. But
yeah. So those are our ideas. Let us know if you want to see that. If you do want to see us roasting Mal, I can try.
Yeah, we can do that. We could do that. That would be a fun live stream. Roasting Tay and replay would be fun. We do that for free, like unprovoked.
Yeah.
I don't even think replay value has a my anime list.
Yeah, I don't know what I could roast him on, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I do. I don't think he's shown his hand enough to. He hasn't shown any weakness.
So when you roast my anime list, right? Do you just like do you roast scores or do you roast like the whole page? Like what do you roasting?
If the page looks bad because they have bad CSS, I don't want to speak too much because my CSS I think is kind of like outdated and makes it hard to read. So like it might be kind of roastable in and of itself. We'll find out. You know, if you can't roast yourself, then you can't roast others, but we'll find out firsthand. But mostly scores. I think the scores thing is where you look at them and you're like, how did you give this score and this another score? So
I still got to finish scoring things. I have like 400 anime to go.
Yeah. That's you. Wait, you have 400 that you haven't noted?
Nope. No, I wrote them down. I haven't scored.
Oh my God. That's gonna, do you just like pick them like kids? Like
I was doing that at first, but I was like not remembering a lot of stuff. So I'm like, maybe I should take my time to think about this. But maybe I just got to be like, nope, just cut through.
Would it be
5, 6, 7?
Would people be interested in me giving you scores? I'll score your shows, and then you'll either disagree or agree. And then it's like, no.
That's good. And it'll force me to be like, okay, then if you don't tell me, then this is a 3 out of 10. Like, no, it is at least a 7.
And you're like, see, okay, it wasn't that hard that time. And then you're like, no, it was hard.
All right, forcing Onimaru to finish his My Anime List scores.
Good call. It's something trendy like Anime List Russian Roulette or something. I don't know.
I like that. See, Shaw's coming out with all the cool game ideas.
Yeah. But yeah, if thanks for bringing up the My Anime List roasting, because there's so many like just various topics that we've had in mind, but we're not sure how interested people are. And like, we're really open to doing whatever. So, feel free to share ideas or bring up ideas that we've mentioned. Just kind of bully us into doing stuff.
Yeah, there's apparently interest in a Just Weebs spin-off series, even though I have no idea what that would be.
I'm like, what do we do? But what do we do? Is it like Just Weebs meets the wilderness kind of thing? Like go outside and like...
Wait, we have to go outside? That's a
I don't know.
Tall order. Come on.
That's like when we play replay values, Anime Twitch Jeopardy, and it's like the real world is a category, and we're like, nope.
Stay, get away. I fear that category. That's
okay. Like, jokes about staying inside as Weebs aside, it's genuinely so many different topics that I don't know. Like,
no. That's what I mean. Like, I actually genuinely fear it because, like, I've seen some of the examples, and it's like, it's so varied. I'm so lucky I got like John Wick.
That was impressive. That was awesome.
I'm so happy.
Our win was kind of assured, half with John Wick and half with Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
Both of those are that was fun. Wait, Rev, since you're here, Nisio Issei in discussion to force Shaw to start Zarigoto. It's here. I got it right next to me. First volume of Zarigoto. I'm gonna read it at some point. It's gonna happen.
So what you're saying is Just Weebs book club.
I'm down with that. I was such an asshole. So like Just Weebs IRL spinoff. I'm not sure if that's the T, but yesterday we did I went to a corn maze with friends and we split up into teams to try and see who could finish the corn maze first. And made like really goofy t-shirts for everyone. And we're like, there's like some 14-year-old who's like working there, like obviously hates his job because he's working at a corn maze, telling these like assholes how the corn maze works. And it's like you have to go around and you find these mailboxes and they have part of the map, so you got to put the map together. But then they also have like a crossword puzzle and it's all based on a theme, like whatever. And we had 2 teams and we all have these like obvious t-shirts that are different colors, kind of like, when you're in school and you have like field day and you got like the red team and the blue team. And he's like, oh, I'm not sure who the 2 teams are. And one of my friends is like, if only there was a visual indicator of the 2 teams.
Oh my God.
And he didn't say it that loudly, but I'm still kind of dying at that. But so it was like supposed to like really rain at 4 and we got there late and we got there at like 3. So I'm like, oh yeah, it's like Squid Game only. And if we don't get out of the maze in time, it just rains on us instead of like we die. So the other team, not my team, won. They came out in like under an hour. They got everything, like ridiculousness. My team needed like one more square and then we were done. We couldn't get it. And in like a matter of 5 minutes, it went from like summer weather to like tropical storm. And it's just like, looks like it's getting dark. So we cut through the maze. Like we went over the tape. We just cut through it and ran out and we just beat the rain, but we didn't finish. We lost and we cheated the whole time. So it was awful.
So you're like the, what's her name in Squid Game?
I'm the Karen in Squid Game, just cheating with like,
But so, wait, so this was like maybe I missed something. This was like an escape room sort of.
No, it's like I'll call it an outdoor escape room. It's like a corn maze.
Okay, you said corn maze. Got it.
Yeah.
I was like confused because at one point I started thinking, oh, it's like an escape room. I'm like, wait, no, it's not an escape room.
Yeah, something like that. But my team did not win.
Okay, well, that's
very embarrassing.
That's unfortunate. But
it did not go well, but it was kind of funny. But I forget what prompted that. But yeah, so that was the Just Weebs IRL. So
yeah, we do go outside.
Go outside.
But yeah, I'm really like curious about a lot of stuff. So I am down for spin-offs, specials, whatever. Yeah. It just depends what people want to see.
If we could, forcing my dad to watch shows and vlogging it, if that sounds interesting enough as a spin-off, then it's like, then that should work. That's so true.
We do have a few things coming in the next couple of weeks. One of which you already know, the hot takes next week. No, I'm going to just see if we got any more.
We have one more, I think.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
I'm waiting for like a really spicy one though. We don't have any like Gianni like takes.
Maybe we should just like get him to like.
Yeah, we'll just send it to him directly. Be like, go crazy.
Go.
Yeah.
Unleash. It's anonymous.
Yeah.
Or just have him like come on to the pod to just to just rate each hot take and just be like, is this actually hot?
I would love that kind of like if you have him just come on and be like, he'll rank the hot takes out of 10.
There's one in here that it would offend me, but it doesn't give a reason.
Oh,
there's a new one. Like it just kind of like says this is that.
Yeah.
And that's it. I'm like, I need the reason. But I will try to unpack that. I have to probably refresh on a ton of things because these are so like varied.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to check out. So stay tuned. The hot take series will continue.
Yeah. All right, that's about it. Thanks guys for hanging out with us. We will see you all next week.
See you next week.